All right, it looks like folks are still joining, but we have quite a few on the line. So let's get started with that. First, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We are very excited about the April 26th finalist showcase. I am going to hand it over to Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy, Michelle Chang, to kick us off.
Great. Thank you so much, Angelica. And if you all don't mind, for those of you who are unmuted, if you could just mute your phones, that would be great.
Michelle, this is Rachel. If you want to come back off mute.
Okay. Can you all hear me now? Great. Thank you. All right, and again, just a quick reminder, if you don't mind, just to mute, that would be great, so we can make sure everyone can hear. First of all, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day today to be with us. We are really excited about the upcoming Build Back Better Regional Finalist Showcase, which will be on April 26th. Before we talk about this, I also just want to give you all a big congratulations for getting to this point. Obviously, to be a finalist for this challenge is a huge accomplishment, and we know you all have been working very hard over the last several months to put together strong proposals. And I know our team has been really excited reading about all of your ideas and your proposals, and we're just really excited to hopefully be able to see a lot of them come to life. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the 26. As you all know, we only have $1 billion for this program, and we have given 30 million of that out to you all for technical assistance as you have been preparing your phase 2 applications. And so we know we're not going to be able to, unfortunately, fund all of the great ideas and proposals and projects that you all are putting forward. And so the real intent of this event that we are having in April 26 is to begin to help connect you all to potential other funders that could come from the philanthropic world, the corporate world, other federal agencies, but also just other partners that could provide you, if not direct investment in dollars, but technical assistance, support, and to really help further your coalitions and the work that you all are doing. So this really is intended to be a platform for all of you to be able to showcase your great ideas and thoughts and be able to allow folks to be able to hear what your plans are and to allow them to potentially work with you if that's something that's of interest to them. So with that, I'm going to go over a few of the rules for the event. And of course, we're happy to take any questions that you all may have. So feel free to drop any questions into the chat box. We can certainly answer anything that you may have. So to start off with, you should already know that each coalition will have 15 minutes, a 15-minute window where they will give 5-minute presentation on their project and their coalition, and then a 10-minute Q&A session. So presentations should be no more, you can include PowerPoint slides, but we're asking that you don't use more than 5 PowerPoint slides, and they should not include videos. And I just want to note the reason why we are being a little more prescriptive and what we are asking you all to do and not to do in this showcase is that we do want to provide a level playing field for all of you all so that everyone kind of starts with the same slate and are given the same rules so that everyone has a chance to be able to shine equally. So again, 15 minutes for each coalition, a 5-minute presentation with up to 5 slides of PowerPoint, and then there will be a Q&A session. And again, no videos, please. We have provided you all an optional PowerPoint template that you can use, but you are also welcome to use your own templates. During the Q&A sessions, there will be folks from philanthropy, corporations, other federal agencies who may have an opportunity to ask you questions about your proposal. So definitely feel free to interact with them then. We do ask that during the 5-minute presentation portion of your presentation that you do limit that to 1 to 2 speakers. But for the Q&A session, you are more than welcome to include additional members from your coalition. All right, a few more details on logistics for this event. As you all know, it is April 26th. It will begin at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We will begin the event with some opening remarks from some senior officials from the Department of Commerce. We do have a keynote speaker and a panel that will first happen, roughly take place for the first hour. And then we will break off into multiple Zoom rooms where the actual pitches will happen. Everything will be happening virtually on Zoom. Coalitions will be in charge of screen sharing and controlling their own decks if you choose to use a deck. And at the 5-minute mark, presenters will be demoted to the general room, and then EDA will come in and open up for questions. So during your 5 minutes, you all will be the presenter, be highlighted, and then when we go back to Q&A, we'll move you back to the general room so that everyone can see you and you can see other people and have a discussion around questions that anyone has around your presentation. Each intro given to the group will be on behalf of EDA will include the name of the coalition, the lead applicant, what state you're from, as well as the presenters. Each breakout room that we're having is categorized by industry. So for coalitions that may have more than one main industry, we have selected a primary industry for you all. All sessions will be recorded and distributed to participants by early May. Now, in terms of the schedule, the finalist presentation schedule was sent out this morning, so you all should have received that. If you haven't, please do let us know. You can send an email to our buildbackbetter.eda.gov email address, and we'll make sure that you get that. If there are significant circumstances preventing your coalition from presenting at your allocated time, you can also email us at that same email address no later than 5 p.m. Eastern this coming Monday, and we will do our best to accommodate any schedule requests. As your schedule allows you to, we do invite you all to come listen to the other presentations. We do hope that hearing from your other fellow finalists and hearing the type of projects and work that they're doing will help inspire and help give you other ideas of things that you may be able to do and work on. All coalition presenters will receive a calendar invite for the entire window of their respective breakout room to make sure that you don't miss the opportunity to present. We will include the schedule for each breakout room in the body of the email. It is incumbent on coalition presenters to be in the Zoom room during your assigned window. Time-specific calendar invites will not be sent. So just to reiterate, we will be sending you a full calendar invite that will be for the full session of that breakout room. Coalition members who are not presenting will receive information for the event website by Friday, April 22nd. This website will have all of the event information as well as links to the main plenary and all the industry breakout rooms. All right, now moving on to event materials. EDA is compiling an event packet that will be distributed by Friday, April 22nd. This packet will include descriptions of all 60 finalists, along with the agenda for the event and information about how to access the program. On March 28th, EDA sent out an optional storytelling guide to all finalists. For the coalitions who responded, the response to question number 1 in that storytelling survey will be used in event materials leading up to the April 26th finalist showcase. If EDA did not receive a response from your coalition to that storytelling guide, we will use the proposal summaries that is currently on our EDA website. As mentioned via email yesterday, we have extended the deadline to submit the optional storytelling guide to end of day, Monday, April 11th. Due to tight production timelines, we will not be able to accommodate or incorporate submissions received after April 11th. So please do make sure you submit it by then if you do want to update what you have sent us previously. A couple other reminders, if you haven't already done so, please do submit a brief description in the, please submit the brief registration in the body of the meeting invite to provide the names and contact information of the 1 or 2 individuals speaking on behalf of your coalition. So you should have received in the registration guide, please do include the names of the folks that will be doing the actual presentation for your coalition. And again, it can be 1 to 2 people. We do need that information by Tuesday, April 12th. We have received questions about who will be in the audience. And so just to give you a flavor of who will be in the audience, we have invited funders from both the philanthropic sector, both major national philanthropies, as well as regional community foundations, and also corporate foundations, as well as other federal agencies and partners. So while we cannot confirm right now exactly the specific people who will be in the Zoom room, we will provide a list of participating organizations by Friday, April 22nd. The stakeholders in the room will have a variety of interests. Some are very specific on certain regions that they're focused on. Some have specific area interests like workforce or climate change or equity. So recognizing that the audience will be broad will be important so that you can make sure that what you are saying can be relevant to a wide range of interests. All right, and now with that, I'm going to turn this over to our colleagues over at JDC Events who are helping us make sure that everything goes smoothly on the 26th. I believe I'm handing this over to Shannon and her team. Again, thank you, a big thank you to Shannon and her team for everything that they're doing to help us with this event. And I will turn this over to you, Shannon.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much. Oh, just a little echo. That's better. I'm actually dropping the link to the Google form where you can provide your 2 presenter names. I've just done that now in the chat. So it is a Google form. It was also linked in the calendar invite you received for today's call. So please go to that location. You should be able to submit up to 2 presenter names on this form. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to let me know. In terms of sort of technically preparing for the session, we will be using Zoom, as Michelle mentioned. We encourage everyone to be on camera. So to sort of expand on how Michelle was describing being made to share your screen, our technicians from JDC will actually promote you to a co-host. Being a co-host in the meeting means that you will be allowed to share your screen. Our technicians will only promote the 2 individuals from the coalition who are listed on that Google form. So please be sure that you take the time to do that in advance. And the demotion back to the room is actually just being removed those co-host capabilities. So at the 5-minute mark, we will remove your PowerPoint from the screen by demoting you back to the standard attendee rather than co-host. In terms of preparing to present beyond that, we just encourage you to have good audio and lighting. That can make all the difference in a virtual presentation. Being on camera, well lit, and using headphones so that you're clear and easily heard is going to be incredibly helpful to making sure that the folks who are watching you can clearly hear and see your message presented during the event. If there's anything specific, we are happy to answer questions. But other than that, Michelle, not much more from me.
Great, thanks so much, Shannon. Any questions we have from anyone? We do have some time left, so if you do have any questions, feel free to either raise your hand or put something in the chat box. Looks like we have a question from, I believe it's Stacy Johnson.
Yep. Hi. Is there any chance for a technical run through maybe the day before where we just sign in, we connect, we make sure that our screen share is working, disconnect, demote back, and then exit?
So I think we can, Angelica and I can talk about that offline and confirm what day we can do that. We may be able to provide a 1-hour window to do that, yes, but that isn't something we have scheduled at this time, so let us get back to you.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
All right, great. And it looks like Elizabeth has a question.
Thank you. Quick question. I'm sorry about my dogs. I read somewhere in one of the sets of instructions that we can have up to 2 presenters, but we can have others answering questions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So for the 5-minute presentation section, which you can also, if you want, use up to 5 PowerPoint slides, we ask that you limit that to 2 presenters. You can have 1 or 2, but when you then have the 10-minute Q&A after that, you can bring in other folks from your coalition. All right, looks like we have some questions in the chat. Did the EDA provide direction, expectations on what type of Q&A questions we need to prepare? We have not provided any direction or that. We are really allowing the philanthropies and the corporations and other federal partners who are going to be coming to ask the questions that they have after hearing your presentation. So I think primarily it will be about your work and your pitches and your proposals. So obviously I think those are things that you all are very familiar with. So it shouldn't be anything that would be out of the realm of what you would be able to answer. It looks like we said, there's a question, will we receive a list beforehand of non-EDA folks who will be invited? And yes, we mentioned we will be sending that out. I believe the list of organizations by April 22nd, the Friday before. Looks like some more questions here. Jail, is that right? Sorry if I mispronounced that. Jail, maybe?
Whoops. Yes, I'm following up on Elizabeth's question. How is the form that you put in chat where we would also list additional presenters who would be joining for the Q&A, or how logistically do we need to communicate those additional members?
I don't believe we need those additional members in advance, and Angelica, keep me honest, but you can absolutely, everyone we will be using Zoom meetings, so everyone will be able to unmute themselves. So you should just have all of the folks that you would like to participate in the Q&A prepared to attend to the meeting at that time, and they can unmute themselves and respond to the questions.
That's exactly correct. Thank you, Shannon. So yes, the only folks you have to respond to the form for are the one or two individuals who are presenting. And those individuals will receive the calendar invite for the window of that breakout session.
And then just as a follow-up, do we need to share slides with you beforehand, or just have them ready since we're driving?
Just have them ready.
Great, thank you.
So Michelle, there's another question in the chat. Will the breakout rooms have different philanthropic groups in attendance, like one versus another?
Yes, so there will be. We are inviting quite a number of different philanthropies, both on the national and the local regional level. And they are also in turn inviting multiple folks from their team. So there will be quite a number of folks. And so like we mentioned, we're dividing things up by industry groups. And so there will be folks in each of the different rooms based on interest and the topic areas that we have divided the breakout rooms by.
Awesome.
And
the next, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I saw a follow-up to that sort of at the very beginning that asks if there are national and regional funders that may have an interest but are not, we're not sure they're already involved. Is there a way to suggest or cross-check against the attendee list, Michelle?
That's a great question.
Are they capable of, like, we could certainly do that on a case-by-case basis. I'm happy to check the reg list, but are they able to forward it to them? Is that okay by you guys?
That's fine with us. Yeah, I was going to say like one of two things. You can either forward the registration information to any philanthropies that you all are working with that you'd like to make sure are invited. Feel free to go ahead and do that. That's probably the easiest way to do it, to be frank, at this point. So yes, if there is anyone else that you'd like to make sure is invited, definitely just feel free to forward the registration invite to them. We have a pretty large capacity on our Zoom, and so we're happy to make this as inclusive as possible.
Awesome. So the next question is, should we follow the storytelling guide questions to develop our presentation? Are those questions that EDA and partners want us to focus on? And I'm happy to start off by answering that and say that the optional storytelling question guide are to be used as communications materials for EDA. The only question that would be used for this showcase on the 26th is question number 1, where it asks you to provide a brief description of your coalition. But other than that, they are totally separate documents. And with that, we'll go to the next question of, should we operate under the assumption that the 5-minute presentation is the first time the attendees will be hearing about our project, i.e. they haven't read our proposals?
I think that's a good assumption to make, right? Like everyone's going to receive, like we mentioned, a pre-event packet that will have each of your paragraph descriptions of your overall proposal. But as you all can certainly appreciate, people are busy. They may not have read everyone very closely. And also there are 60. And so it may be hard to remember which one was which. So Yes, that would be my guidance is yes, assume that this is the first time they're hearing about your presentation, your coalition, your proposal, and I think be able to start from as if this is the first time you are explaining your proposal to somebody.
Thanks, Michelle. And the next question is, how will the questioners be selected?
We are going to have EDA moderators in each room that will help facilitate the question and answer session. So I don't think there's any magic to how they're going to be selected, but we are going to do our best to make sure that everyone that does have a question can get through it within the 10 minutes that we have.
Thank you. How will the information be shared across funders? Will presentations be recorded and sent to everyone?
So yeah, I think first, as we mentioned, there will be an event packet that everyone will receive around a brief description on all of your coalitions that they will all receive beforehand. We are going to be recording the sessions. And so we're happy to also provide that to all of the attendees after the event. So likely in the early May timeframe.
And if we fall into more than one industry category, will it be considered above the board to reach out directly to any organizations not in our breakout room after this showcase is over?
It's a great question. So I think a couple things. There may be some organizations that have multiple people that will sit in multiple rooms, so you may not have that problem. We are also right now working out some very tangible ways that you can connect with the folks that are in attendance on the 26th that are not finalists, so that we make sure we are connecting you all to them. Obviously, there's just some PII issues that we've got to sort through of sharing emails. And so we'll have to go through all of that, but we are very committed to making sure that we are connecting you all to any potential organizations that you're interested in working with.
Am I right in understanding that EDA is not the primary audience for this presentation? For example, we are pitching the philanthropies, but EDA will determine its funding decisions based on only the quality of the application submitted.
Actually, thank you very much for that question, whoever asked that. This event is 100% disconnected to your EDA Build Back Better phase 2 evaluation process. So nothing that is done here on the 26th will be part of the evaluation for the phase 2 proposal. So that is a completely different process. What we are using for that phase 2 evaluation is what was outlined in the NOFO, what you submitted on March 15th, and we cannot, because of the NOFO, use any other information than what was submitted that day. So thank you for that question. This is completely separate. This is completely optional as well. This is really us wanting to provide you all a forum to get connected with other sort of funders, because as we mentioned before, there's so much high demand for this program, and we know we're just not going to be able to fund everyone, and we would love to see all of your great projects have some funding and investment.
And I would also just add that for that very reason, the Build Back Better team will not be moderating and participating in this showcase.
Yes, so anyone that you are going to be seeing on the 26th will not be part of the selection process. So myself, the other Angelica folks that you're seeing from EDA, we are not part of the selection process for the Build Back Better phase 2 grants.
Our next question is, will the questions asked take into consideration the fact that we are in a live competition and that we will all be listening to each other's pitch, like budget questions, etc.?
So as I've just mentioned, nothing that you say in this April 26th event will have any impact on your ability, or it will not go into any sort of the evaluation for the phase 2 grantee awards. So even though we're in active competition, nothing here is going to be used as part of that, since nobody from the selection process will be part of this event.
All right. If we have an executive summary booklet prepared for all of our projects, can we send that to the EDA team to share or advertise for us, similar to how the phase 1 applications were hosted on the website?
I'll give my answer, and Angelica, feel free to correct me if you want to add anything, but I think we would like to try to keep everyone at a similar level playing field. And so we are asking that folks either use the storytelling guide that they have submitted, what they're putting there, or we will take from your brief description from your proposal.
Yes, so either the question number 1 in the storytelling guide, if we receive it by end of day on Monday, the 11th, or we'll use the project description on the EDA website. And I'm happy to drop that link in the chat as well. Stacy asked, can we perhaps plan to follow up with some of these groups during the DC trip? Maybe a great next step in that relation building process.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So as mentioned, we are going to be having a follow-up event in the June timeframe for all the Build Back Better regional finalists. That really is intended to be a follow-on event to this event. So this one on the 26th is really intended to provide everyone just a flavor of what you all are doing. And then what will happen in June with the in-person convening will be an opportunity to go more in depth, form deeper relationships, and be able to take those conversations to the next level.
Will potential commitments be offered before phase 2 awards are announced? And if so, will this remove some projects from consideration?
I assume that's a question about whether commitments will be made from any of the philanthropies that are in attendance on the 26th. That frankly, I can't speak to since I'm not at any of the philanthropies. I think conceivably so, that could happen. And if that happens, we are certainly committed to working with you all to make sure that that can work. As you probably all know, we receive such high demand for this program that if that happens, that actually would be a positive thing, because then we could help potentially fund more of your projects or make sure that we're able to fund a greater amount of work that you all have put forward.
Thanks. And then Michelle, do you mind just running through again the high level run of show of the plenary and then how folks will then go to their breakout rooms?
Sure. So as mentioned, we will start April 26th at 12 noon Eastern time. That will begin with some opening remarks from some senior officials from the Department of Commerce. We will then move to a keynote speaker from a national philanthropy, who will talk about some best practices and thinking about best place-based work, as well as pitching to philanthropies. And then we're going to have a panel with a couple folks, someone from a national philanthropy, one from a regional philanthropy, one from a local labor union, a national labor union, and then another partner that we're working on as well, just to talk about how to strengthen partnerships, how to work with philanthropy, and how to really just further the work that you all are doing as a coalition. So that should run, that whole programming as a plenary session should run roughly an hour. And then we will break out into the various industry breakout rooms where you will then do your pitches, and you all should have your schedules of when you are your assigned time. Shannon, do you want to add something to that?
I would like to, yes. So for everyone's clarification, the plenary call is going to be a single separate Zoom webinar. The breakout rooms that we're speaking of are 8 individual Zoom meeting rooms. So the links that you will receive as presenters will be individual to the industry assignment that you've been given by EDA. The breakout room function of Zoom will not be used. Unfortunately, we've come up with this usage of the same term for 2 different things, and it becomes very confusing. So apologies for that. But we are using, there will be 7 separate Zoom links, and those will all be posted on the event website, as Michelle mentioned, in addition to being emailed to you specifically for your call that you will be participating in. Thank you.
All right, and then we have a few more questions that came into the Build Back Better inbox. So Michelle, I am going to direct them to you. And then if anyone else has questions, you can either put it in the chat or go off mute. Should we include only information about the projects that we submitted as part of the application, or should we try to think bigger by including adjacent projects?
That's a great question. I'm gonna go on a limb here and give my personal thoughts on this. Like I mentioned, this has nothing to do with the evaluation for your phase 2 application. And so this is an opportunity, right, for you all to get in front of other philanthropies, potential other funders and investors. So obviously you only have 5 minutes. I think it's fine to include other things that are adjacent to what you submitted in your actual proposal, if that will help you get the investments that you're looking for your region to be able to grow and thrive.
Thank you. Will everyone in the coalition be invited to the breakout rooms or just the presenters?
So I assume you're talking about for what single coalition. Yes, you can come to the breakout room. Just as we mentioned, just during the 5-minute presentation, we ask that you limit it to 2 people, but during the Q&A, you can have other folks from your coalition chime in for the Q&A.
Yeah, I think for clarity there, Angelica, it's that everyone is invited to visit whichever rooms they wish. The event website will contain active links to all of the breakout rooms that are available. Anyone who would like to view your presentation is welcome to come, whether they're part of your coalition and planning to respond to Q&A questions or not. It's just about making sure that we know which 2 that we're going to promote to co-host. Which is the reason we're asking for that information in advance.
Thank you both. So we can only listen to other presentations in our industry. And the answer to that is you are able to, but you are also able to hop around and listen to any other industries that are of interest to you. So the more coalition members, the more you are able to cover more than one industry. Our next question is, are we asking for broad support of the coalition or should we be more project-based?
So again, I think this is where I think the goal here is for you all to get as much excitement as you can from philanthropies. And so recognizing that this is just the first time that you are going to have a conversation with them, I think the goal is to spark an interest that you think philanthropies will be interested in, and you will have future opportunities, especially at the June event that we're hosting, to be able to talk more in depth about what you're seeing the most interest is coming from for your coalitions. And so I think my guidance would be to set a vision of what you are trying to achieve in your community and in your region with the work that you're doing, because I think that's a lot of what particularly some of these national philanthropies are looking for. Some of them are really looking for a strong vision of what you're trying to drive to, and maybe talking a little bit about tactically how you intend to do that, how you have confidence that you can do that, and how having some resources and additional investment can help support the work that you're doing and the outcomes that you are looking to achieve. So what success would look like, what that vision at the end of the day would be.
Thank you. The next question is there a preference for who is presenting on behalf of a coalition? For example, do we prefer that it's the RICO, or should we prioritize leaders of the lead applicants or partner organizations?
We don't have a preference on who you select to be the presenters. I think if I'm one of you all, I would put our best foot forward, right? And obviously, people are gonna hear a number of pitches over the course of the day. Obviously, the more compelling and the more exciting, and I would just put your best foot forward and think who you have on your team that will best be able to paint that picture and the vision in the most compelling way.
And just to follow up on that, if someone is hopping on to give a quick introduction, that will, to maintain a level playing field, count as one of your presenters. Are there any other questions?
Angelica, I saw a question about registering. We encourage everyone to register separately. We would encourage you not to forward the link. The link is intended for you and your co-presenter to have easy access to the meeting room. Everyone who registers will receive all of the event communication, so you can save yourself the step of forwarding communications on that come out before the event. But I've just dropped the link in the chat.
All right, I think that is everything for today. Again, we will be sending around an email with all of this information later today, and then this will eventually be posted on the finalist specific site. And again, if you have any questions between now and then, just don't hesitate to reach out to the Build Back Better inbox. Thank you all.
Thanks, Angelica.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Thank you.